To all my amazing subscribers, thank you so much for riding with me through every heartbreak and twist. And to my new and returning viewers who have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? That subscribe button is the fuel that keeps this channel burning with raw stories like this one. I cannot wait for you to be part of this journey. Do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear everything. Your reactions, your stories, and your truths. He was moaning her name, not mine. His hands were gripped tight around her waist, thrusting into her like a man possessed. And she, my best friend, was not even pretending to feel guilty. Her back arched, her mouth open in pleasure, and her red nails scratched lines down his chest like she owned him. I stood in the doorway, frozen, holding a bottle of Merlot and 2 glasses, one for her and one for me. We had planned a girls' night, but clearly she had other plans. The scent of vanilla candles burned low in the room, but I could still smell sweat, sex, and betrayal in the air. I did not scream. I did not cry. I just watched. I let the glass bottle slip from my hand, the sound of it shattering echoing louder than any words I could have spoken. That was the moment I stopped being someone's wife and someone's best friend. My name is Rachel Madison. I am 36, born and raised in Virginia. I live in a quiet upper-middle-class neighborhood just outside Richmond, where everyone knows everyone, and the real drama hides behind manicured lawns and perfectly staged Christmas cards. I was married to Kyle Madison for 9 years. He worked in commercial real estate, wore tailored suits, and always remembered to kiss me on the forehead before leaving for work. That used to be enough for me, until I realized I had been sleeping beside a stranger for nearly a decade. And then there was Melanie. God, Melanie. She was my best friend since freshman year of college. We met at a sorority rush party. She had wild honey blonde curls, skin like caramel cream, and a laugh that made everyone lean in closer. When she walked into a room, heads turned, men, women, everyone. She had that glow. And when she hugged you, you felt chosen. Melanie had been recently divorced from a husband who cheated on her with his secretary. I had held her while she cried on my couch. I had spoon-fed her ice cream, ran interference when her ex called, and helped her move into her new apartment. I thought she needed me, but apparently she needed something else, someone else. My husband. When Melanie began spending more time at my house, I thought it was healthy. She needed a safe space, and Kyle and I had always made her feel welcome. She joked that we were the only couple she still believed in. She would say things like, "You two give me hope," and I believed her. I wanted to believe her. She started dressing differently around him. At first, I ignored it. A silk robe that clung too tight to her hips. A laugh that lingered a few seconds too long. Once, she bent down to pick something off the floor, and Kyle's eyes lingered longer than they should have. I saw it. I told myself I was being paranoid. I reminded myself that Melanie was broken, and Kyle was mine. There were text messages, too. Quick, flirty, seemingly harmless. Inside jokes. He claimed they were friends now. That he was just helping her get back on her feet. My gut screamed, but I silenced it with wine and distractions. It was a Saturday night. Kyle had told me he was working late. Melanie texted and asked if she could come over. Said she was feeling lonely and needed some girl time. I agreed, like the fool I was. I ran a bath, poured wine, and waited. Hours passed. I called her. No answer. Then I called Kyle. Straight to voicemail. Something twisted in my chest like a knife. I left the house and drove around, trying not to panic. I told myself maybe they were out together, maybe it was innocent. Maybe they were planning a surprise for me. Anything but what I was really thinking. His car was not in the office parking lot. It was parked in front of her apartment. I still do not know why I had a key to her place. Maybe because deep down I always knew I would need it. When I opened the door, the lights were dim. Soft music played. I walked quietly down the hall. And that was when I saw them, on her bed, tangled, lost in each other like they had done this 100 times. She saw me first. Her eyes locked onto mine, and for a moment she froze. Then Kyle turned and saw me too. His mouth moved, but I did not hear the words. All I heard was the sound of my trust, my love, my history, crashing into pieces. I walked out without saying a word. I drove back home, sat in my car for 30 minutes, and stared at the front porch like it was a crime scene. And in a way it was. Everything I had built inside that house now felt like a lie. That night I did not sleep. I stared at the ceiling wondering what was worse, his betrayal or hers. I did not know where to place my pain. I just knew it was eating me alive from the inside out. Kyle came home the next morning. He smelled like sex and guilt. His eyes were red. He said he was sorry. He said it meant nothing, that it was a mistake. But I knew the difference between an accident and a decision. He chose her, and she chose him. My best friend, my husband, both of them. They broke something in me that night, something I will never get back. And that was just the beginning. The day after I caught Kyle and Melanie in bed together, the world did not stop. Birds still chirped outside my window. My neighbor, Mrs. Delaney, still waved as she watered her roses. People walked their dogs. Joggers passed by. But I had stopped. My world had frozen at the edge of that bed. At the curve of Melanie's hips, the arch of her spine, the way Kyle gripped her like she belonged to him, like I never existed. I did not cry, not right away. Instead I cleaned. I scrubbed the kitchen counters, wiped down every cabinet, and tossed out every single glass they had ever touched during our game nights. Her fingerprints were everywhere. In my life, my memories, even my photo albums. I deleted every picture with her in it. I boxed up gifts she gave me over the years. Perfume, wine glasses, scarves. All of it went into a trash bag and straight to the curb. Kyle tried to act normal, like it had all been a bad dream. He came into the kitchen that morning in his gray robe, poured himself coffee, and leaned against the counter like he had not destroyed everything. "Rachel, we need to talk," he said. But I did not respond. I just watched him. The way his jaw flexed when he was nervous. The way his hands fidgeted with the coffee mug. He was not sorry. He was afraid. Afraid of what would happen if I actually left. Afraid of what it would cost him. Later that afternoon, Melanie texted me. "I know you are angry. I messed up. I am sorry. Please let us talk." I stared at the message for a full 5 minutes before I blocked her number. There was nothing left to say. When something this ugly happens, your mind does not just sit with the present pain. It runs backward. Every memory becomes a clue you missed. There was that time a year ago when I walked in on Melanie and Kyle in the garage, laughing about something they would not explain. She had her hand on his shoulder, and he looked flushed. I thought it was nothing. Or the New Year's Eve party when Kyle forgot to kiss me at midnight because he was too busy pouring champagne for Melanie. She had worn a tight silver dress that night. Her lipstick matched the wine. She danced with Kyle. And I let it happen. And then there was last summer, when Melanie stayed over while her air conditioning was broken. She wore short sleeve shorts and walked around the house like she owned it. I remember walking into the living room one morning and seeing Kyle watching her sleep on the couch. His gaze was too soft, too long. He did not even flinch when I walked in. My intuition had screamed at me. I had just turned the volume down. That week, Kyle tried everything. He bought flowers, cooked dinner, even cried, told me it was a one-time mistake, that he had been drunk, that he was confused, that he loved me. But one night, when he fell asleep on the couch, I opened his phone. He never changed his password. He probably never thought I would look. What I found made my stomach turn. Text after text between them. Going back months. Months. I cannot stop thinking about last night. She has no idea. I want you again. Next time, let us not stop. There were photos too. Naked ones. Dirty ones. Her in our bedroom. Her wearing my necklace. Her using my body lotion. They had been using me as a cover. She came into my home, laid her head on my shoulder, cried over her ex-husband, while she was plotting to take mine. And Kyle, he gave her everything I asked him for but never received. Passion. Attention. Words soaked in desire. Things he told me he did not know how to express. 3 days after the affair was exposed, Melanie showed up at my door. I should have slammed it in her face. But I needed to see her. I needed to look her in the eyes and understand why. She stood there in leggings, no makeup, hair pulled into a bun, trying to look small and harmless. But I saw her for what she was. A woman who knew exactly what she had done. "Rachel, I swear it just happened. I never meant to hurt you," she said. I did not believe her. Not for 1 second. "You never meant to hurt me?" I asked. "You slept with my husband." You let me cry in your arms and then went behind my back and opened your legs for the same man. She had the nerve to cry. I was lonely. I thought he loved me. I felt something snap inside me. He does not love you. He does not even love himself. She tried to touch my hand, but I pulled away. And then with the coldest voice I had ever used, I said, "You can keep him. Because after both of you, I will never let another man touch me without thinking of betrayal." She left and I never saw her again in person. But the damage she left behind stayed. I stopped talking to Kyle altogether. We became ghosts under the same roof. I started sleeping in the guest bedroom. I changed my hair. I got new sheets. I stopped wearing my wedding ring. But I was not healing. I was rotting inside. My body felt heavy. My soul felt stained. Friends asked if I was okay and I smiled. My mother told me to forgive and move on. I nodded. But inside I was a storm. Quiet. Brewing. Dangerous. Then one night while Kyle was asleep I heard a buzz. Came from his gym bag. I opened it and found a second phone. A burner. A secret line. It had more messages. Not just from Melanie but from others. One named Lena. One named Jen. He had been cheating for years. Years. My marriage had not just broken. It had been dead for a long time. I had just been the one dancing with a corpse. I did not confront him that night. Or the night after. I started watching. Learning. Tracking every move. Every lie. Every weakness. Because if there was one thing I had left, it was strategy. If they wanted to play dirty, I would not just get even. I would win. Chapter 3: Revenge and Lipstick and Lace. I was no longer the woman who cried on the bathroom floor. That version of me, soft, trusting, painfully loyal, died the night I saw my husband make love to my best friend. Something darker had taken her place. I stopped trying to save my marriage. I stopped trying to understand the betrayal. I let the silence between Kyle and I thicken like smoke. Every time he asked to talk, I gave him a cold stare and walked away. He did not get tears anymore. He got calculation. And I had a plan. It started simple. I stopped hiding the truth. I told our closest friends and I told them everything.
No sugarcoating. No soft filters.
Just raw truth. The gasps. The side eyes. The awkward silences at dinner parties. I watched Kyle squirm in public while trying to keep his reputation clean. And Melanie? She lost what little support she had left. Her girls' group chat went radio silent. Invitations disappeared. The PTA she used to lead quietly replaced her. But I was just getting started. I had always known about Kyle's boss, Travis Langford. He was 45, powerful, rich, and recently divorced. He had a thing for younger women, and he always gave me too long looks at company parties. I used to find him creepy. Now, I found him useful. I showed up at one of Kyle's firm events, dressed in a black body-hugging dress I would have never worn when I was still trying to be a good wife. Red lipstick. 6-inch heels. Hair up, attitude sharp. Travis noticed. "Damn, Rachel, you are glowing," he said as I sipped my champagne. I smiled. Divorce tends to bring out a woman's best side. We left the gala early. The back seat of his car was hot, fast, and loud. I did not even care. It was not about sex. It was about power. It was about taking something from Kyle that he could never reclaim. And I knew exactly how to make sure Kyle found out. Kyle's face the day he saw a photo of me and Travis at brunch, arms around each other smiling like newlyweds, was something I will never forget. He stormed into the house that night, red-faced and shaking. "What the hell are you doing with my boss?" he demanded. I turned slowly, glass of wine in hand, and said, "Oh, you mean the man who knows how to touch me without lying to me first?" He tried to play the victim. He called me cruel, said I was trying to destroy him. I laughed in his face. "You destroyed yourself. I just gave you a mirror." He threatened divorce. I reminded him I had already contacted my lawyer. "You do not get to be the hero in this story, Kyle. You get to be the cautionary tale." It did not take long for the cracks in Melanie's life to show. Her apartment lease ended. She lost her part-time teaching job after a few mothers complained about her inappropriate behavior. One day she showed up at my work, makeup smeared, hair wild, eyes frantic. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You got your revenge." You have his boss. I have nothing. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, you had me, and you burned that to the ground. This is not revenge, Melanie. This is reality finally catching up with you. She cried. I felt nothing, just an emptiness I had grown comfortable with. Before she walked away, she whispered, he's going to cheat on you too. You know, that's what men like Kyle do. I leaned in and smiled. Kyle is not my problem anymore. But you? You will always be your own. 3 weeks later, Kyle was fired from the firm. Travis made sure of it. Apparently, sleeping with your boss's favorite woman, and being dumb enough to get caught, was not good for business. I did not even need to beg. Travis saw it as cleaning house. Kyle begged me not to go public with the burner phone. I did not. I just left it on his mother's doorstep in a sealed box. Let her find out what kind of man her son really was. I filed for divorce in April. I kept the house, the cars, half his savings. He did not fight back. He was too broken, too exposed. But I was not done healing. Not yet. I started therapy. I started writing again. I traveled. I slept with a few men, but never let them stay the night. I was not looking for love. I was looking for pieces of myself scattered through my past. One night, I stood in front of the mirror, naked. I stared at my own body, the stretch marks, the softness, the scars, the curves. For the first time, I did not judge it. I did not mourn it. I honored it. This body survived betrayal. This heart rebuilt itself with blood and fire. This soul came back from the dead. Months later, I received a letter. Handwritten. No return address. It was from Melanie. She apologized. Again. But this time it was different. She confessed everything. Said the affair started because she envied me. Envied how much I loved. How much I trusted. She wanted to be loved the way Kyle loved me, at least in her mind. But she learned the hard way that stolen things never feel the same in your hands. At the end she wrote, you loved me like a sister. And I became a thief. I do not expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I was wrong. You deserved so much more than either of us gave you. I burned the letter. Watched the flames curl her name into ashes. And I felt nothing.
No rage. No sadness. No satisfaction.
Just peace. I am not the same woman who stood frozen in that doorway holding a bottle of wine. I am not the same woman who let people feed on her loyalty. I am not the same woman who begged a man to choose her. Now, I choose me. Every day. And if there is one thing I want you to take away from my story, it is this. Betrayal will break you, but it will also build you. Do not be afraid to rise from the ashes in heels and red lipstick. Because sometimes the only way to heal is to burn everything down first.